Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog, and today I'm going to follow on from yesterday's theme of bringing characters back from the dead in Prison Break and talk about bringing TV shows back from the dead, i.e. shows that were cancelled and are now coming back to our TV screens or have done in the past. And I also want to cover some shows that I'd like to see come back, and some bits I've kind of seen in the past week or two around actual efforts to bring those shows back. So the thing that kind of kicked me off and surprised me was that they were bringing back a list of programs this year, which almost felt like TV companies had run out of ideas slightly. I hear all these things about like reality TV shows coming and going and getting cancelled, and I saw some sort of announcement that American Idol was coming back, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, I didn't know that ever disappeared, but I guess that means we're probably going to get the English one back. For those of you who have children, you probably have noticed that things like Rocco's Modern Life is coming back as a kids' TV show. My kids watch Danger Mouse and Dennis the Menace and all these random shows that were out when I was a kid, and now it's like 25 years later from when I last remember probably seeing them. Here they are again. Apparently, American companies are bringing back Lost in Space, which they tried to reboot as a film, but it didn't work. I don't really know what they're thinking trying to bring it back as a TV show, but then I suppose they didn't really try with the film. It has got that kind of oldie American big deal to it all. Apparently they're bringing back Miami Vice and Roswell as well. Miami Vice I know was massive back in the day, and you know, it's just a cop drama. I don't really see the point in bringing back a random cop drama, considering all cop dramas since that point have kind of followed on. I know it was a bit cooler and a bit more laid back, but you know, ultimately, isn't every show in America about police? I could put a full stop there. I was going to say trying to emulate the success of Miami Vice from long ago. I heard that Roswell's coming back, and I never really watched that when it was out in the first place, but it always seemed like a bit of a teen drama angst fest with a bit of alien stuff thrown in the background. I'm sure people are excited about that coming back. The thing that absolutely baffled me, and I can't believe I missed this, is the fact that they brought back a Stargate program, Stargate Origins. Now, I don't know how to see this in the UK. I want to support it. I'm a massive Stargate fan, and I'd love to watch this. It's apparently a prequel to SG-1 and the films, although I don't know whether you can say SG-1 and the films are really connected. They are, but I suppose no, they definitely are. But the prequel was set a couple of hundred years before Victorian times, so 100 years before, sorry, where they discovered the Stargate in Egypt. The bloke who discovers it, I think his daughter goes through the Stargate, meets the people on the other side, and has her rip-roaring adventure. Now, it does concern me that SG-1 kind of covered a lot of the canon of the Stargate moving from Egypt to America on a boat and all that sort of thing, and they talk about the fact that humans were under the rule and I suppose that was massively in the past in Egyptian times. I was just thinking I don't want it to kind of interfere with the timeline from SG-1. I did assume that was done and dusted and dead, but there is a movement on the internet called Stargate Now, I think. I will verify that. They basically are trying to do weekly thunderclaps on the internet where they get anyone and everyone who mentions Stargate in a tweet or on a video like this or something to basically talk about Stargate on Twitter and use a specific hashtag at a specific time and try and get it trending. I think their aim is to try and get enough noise made about Stargate that it shows TV companies that they should go and make another SG-1 or whatever. Now that brings me on nicely to the thing that I was mainly going to talk about in this. There's lots and lots of attempts on the internet to bring back shows. So the shows I mentioned before, I don't think anyone was actually campaigning for them to come back. I don't think there was any Lost in Space groups that were kind of trying to create Lost in Space thunderclaps. I'm pretty sure the Rocco's Modern Life fan community died out about 6 years ago. But the Stargate community is pretty strong. And I think they're really going for it. They're really trying hard. There's been a site called Gate World that's been going since the beginning of all the Stargate stuff coming out. I've noticed there was a lot of campaigning against DC to bring back Young Justice or Justice League can't remember exactly what it's called. I had it written down. I can't see it from here. I think it was Young Justice. They're bringing back a Justice League cartoon about young versions of the Justice League, which people were quite excited about because that is something that people have asked for, and obviously a TV company has taken notice and done it. With Stargate, I'm hoping that if they decide to bring back a new TV show, they'll set it in the future behind all these other shows. Doing a prequel to a bigger extent just seems like an irritation to me. It's something that Star Trek keep doing. I'll cover that in another video in future because there's a lot I have to say about the Star Trek universe. You might have noticed I'm a bit of a geek, but yeah, I want them to do something set after Stargate Atlantis. So I think the most canonically forward thing we've seen is Stargate is the characters in Stargate Universe going missing. There's some conversation with them, with the other characters on Earth, but generally speaking, SG-1 are just floating around doing their day-to-day jobs. The team from Atlantis landed Atlantis on Earth again, and we never found out what happened next. So I think, ideally, I'd want to see an Atlantis season 6, which I think is being made as a comic as I speak. It's out every month. I kind of read one or two of them, but I don't know where to source it properly, and I guess my pile of comics is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'd love to see a proper Stargate Universe season 3. I think again they're doing that as a comic. I remember reading the first edition. Where everyone wakes up from stasis and the original crew are also out of stasis and running the ship, and everyone's a bit confused. So it just shows how much potential that had as a program, and I'd love to see both of them come back as proper shows. Although the fact that one of the biggest characters in Atlantis is now playing Aquaman in the movies suggests he probably won't be available, and the main character from Stargate Universe was Robert Carlyle, and I mean his show just got cancelled once upon a time, so I guess he's not busy. They could bring back Universe, but I'd like to see them do a more futuristic version, like a Stargate Next Generation. I don't know what the real benefit would be to doing that. I think that's their biggest challenge, because essentially they can just, in SG-1 and Atlantis and everything, they were already using future tech, they're already in space, they're already visiting aliens, so moving the world forward 20 years I guess doesn't really give us much in the way of I don't know, there's just not much to add. I mean, doing it in the past doesn't work, doing it in the future doesn't work. I've actually just talked myself out of it a little bit, because essentially what I'm saying is I want another season of SG-1, or another season of Atlantis, or another season of Universe. But I don't want them to just decide to fill in the gap between the Victorian age and now, because for most of that 100 years, the Stargate was supposed to be in a box, so you can't really say that there's a whole other load of stuff happened and they just got it back in the box before SG-1 started, because that would be mental. I don't think there's anybody out there calling for Once Upon a Time to come back, which was something that was mentioned there a moment ago. Some of the shows that I watched growing up, well, as a young adult and an early 20s, with things like Buffy, Angel, and obviously Firefly. Now that jumps out from a mile away. That's a show that if Netflix want to start funneling cash into an idea, then just give all the actors and actresses from that a couple of million quid each to just turn up. Mate, well, I say a couple of million. I don't know what the going rate for TV is. Give them 20 million each, whatever. Just get them on there and do a whole season of Firefly, because that makes sense. I'm shocked. I mean, Netflix must have tried. They must have been trying in the past to do this. It just seems insane otherwise, because that would be a certainty to be binge watched by everyone, and everyone who's ever had Netflix and everyone who doesn't have Netflix but knew Firefly would get it. It's just a no-brainer. Why are they not doing that? I don't understand the world. I can't think. I mean, I've been to conventions where I've met all the actors and actresses from that, and each one of them has always maintained and said that if anybody out there basically said they wanted to do this show again, they would drop everything and they would go do it. Now, I imagine that probably won't work as easily around the negotiating table. I imagine they probably act a bit more coy when there's somebody holding a contract in front of them. But I'm pretty sure if you offered Nathan Fillion enough money, he'd turn up and do it hands down, and I'm pretty sure they all would. So that needs to happen because that is one of the biggest travesties in TV. Again, I mentioned Buffy and Angel. I'd love to see them come back. I mean, I don't see how they can because they've done like another 4 seasons of Buffy as a comic, and I think 3 of Angel. I've not read the Angel ones, but the Buffy ones are outstanding. Like that, I wouldn't want them to get rid of that as canon, but I also wouldn't want them to just ignore it and do a show. I guess if I had to choose, I'd rather they just did a show and that be it. But I guess if they brought it back as season 12, I wouldn't be unhappy. That's what I'm saying, I guess. If they just said, if you want to know what happens in the middle, go read the comics. You've got eyes. And yeah, job done. I've always wondered whether because they keep bringing back shows like 24. I don't really want to see something like House come back, but I feel like that would happen one day. I'd love to see them bring back something like Lost and not have all the main characters in it, but the ones that were left at the end with any kind of, well, basically Ben and Hurley, spoiler alert. I'm sure you've all seen Lost, but just continue on with them. I think that would be good. I think that would solve a lot of the mysteries that people have never really got the answers to. Start off a new story. It needs to be a spin-off, but it would be awesome. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. I had loads in my mind when I started, but here I am 11 and a half minutes in, and I am thinking, what the hell else would I like to see? I can't think of anything. I've gone blank. You tell me what you'd like to see. There must be shows out there that got cancelled far too soon that should have been, should have had a fair crack of the whip. Even if shows finished quite late on, if The Simpsons had just been cancelled and you wanted that to come back, let me know. I don't think that should ever die. I can't think of any other programs off the top of my head that I'd love to see return with that much passion. I'd love to maybe see a Breaking Bad season 6. Somebody wrote a fake one on the internet where they talked about what was going to happen, and Bryan Cranston had signed up and blah blah blah, and that did the rounds straight after the show had got cancelled. But something like that would be fantastic. I think that would be a really cool show to bring back and just be like, you thought it was over, but here it is, one more season, hurrah. Other than that, no, at the moment I'm blank. I'm sure once I'm debating in the comments, I'll come up with something that's good. I'll probably do a follow-up in the future if anything remarkable jumps out. But yeah, let me know what you think. Give me some ideas. Let's have a bit of a discussion down there. As you probably noticed, I always respond to the comments. I like having a bit of a chat. I've been enjoying this, actually, putting these up and having a chat with people in the aftermath for like the next day or two afterwards is great. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave. Give us a like. And as I say, give us a comment. I mentioned on Twitter today that I'd like to reach 1,000 followers within 100 days from now. I worked out it was something like 10 followers a day is what I basically aimed for. I know that put me slightly over 1,000, but I just thought it gives me some leeway. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet, that would really help me out in trying to reach that goal. I'm hoping that if I can get better and better at doing videos, then hopefully I'll get to that point quicker. So I know the emphasis is on me to keep you entertained and actually put some effort in. So, but yeah, if you can help me along the way, that'd be awesome. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. It might be a little bit later because I'm going to London for an event with work. So when I get back from that, I'll record. Hopefully I'll have some shenanigans to talk about. My usual nonsense happens, but for the most part, I'm getting a train down and a train back, and I'll probably play lots of Pokemon Go between the event and home. And yeah, I'll let you know how I get on afterwards. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.